We're going to analyze what the three countries have decided to do from now on and what to look out for by speaking to a professor from the Korea National Diplomatic Academy. It's Professor Jeong-hun. Great to have you with us today, Professor Min.
Okay, thanks for having me today.
All right, I'd like to ask you the first question. Leading up to the Camp David Trilateral Summit, we've been anticipating a new chapter in diplomatic relations between Seoul, Washington, and Tokyo. And have we seen any groundbreaking results?
Yes, and most of all, I think that the Trilateral Summit got the groundbreaking results in terms of institutionalized the trilateral meetings among the three leaders. And according to the joint statement or the Camp David spirit, and we can see that the three leaders will hold the annual meeting at least once in a year. So there's a possibility that the three leaders will meet more than one time every year. And along with the summit level and the high-ranking officials like the ministerial levels, they will also hold the annual meetings with their counterparts in the three countries. It means that our governments in the governments in the three countries will mainly talk about how they will enhance their cooperation in security and economic matters on a regular basis.
Right.
So compared to the past, where when the level of the cooperation among the three countries was very low and at the baby step, we will expect that the level of the cooperation among the three countries will be strengthened and will be the higher level and in the coming years. So I don't think that we can see the new kind of the accomplishments or outcomes in terms of this trilateral meeting, but in terms of the institutionalizing the summits among the top leaders and high-ranking officials, it will show come up with the groundbreaking results in the coming years, and because our government officials always focus on what their top leaders talk about and what kind of the agendas emphasize. So in terms of the institutionalized the leaders meeting annually, our government officials will pay attention to what their leaders focused on in terms of the enhancing cooperations with the two other countries. So they will work hard and they will try to find the new agendas and the new topics to enhance the cooperation.
For sure.
with the two countries. So it's just kind of the beginning of the cooperation. So it will be a kind of the new chapter of the cooperation among three countries, but the very important institutional base was made through this summit.
As you mentioned, we might not be seeing solid accomplishments yet because it's only the first chapter. It's the first step, but we'll have to see with these routine meetings happening from now on forth. A second question I have for you, though. There were 3 documents signed. I'm wondering, why couldn't have this been one? Why did it have to be 3 separate documents?
It's because the three countries put the large value and importance of the Trilateral Summit and the kind of institutionalized the summit meetings among the leaders of the three countries. So think about what happens when the people create a new organization or institution. They try to make the kind of preface, showing what kind of the visions and the backgrounds and the principles the organization or the institution has, and after that, we can see the main agendas or the topics they will work on, and then after that we can see the details of these kind of projects, agendas, and other things. And we can also see the conclusion, showing that the organization will work hard and try to make the accomplishments in the coming years. So in terms of three countries, the trilateral, the summit meeting and the cooperation. As you mentioned, this is kind of a new chapter of the trilateral cooperation. So they try to make the kind of the whole the version of the paperwork, or the kind of, it's like the constitution of a country or the organization. So they have the Camp David, the principles, showing kind of preface or the kind of the overall the principles, the visions they share, or the strategical the goals that the three countries share. And Camp David the spirit is kind of the typical typical type of the joint statements of the summit meeting. So we can see the vision of the three countries cooperation, and after that we can see the details about how the three countries will work together in terms of enhancing their cooperation in security, economy, and the technology and other areas of work. So we can see the large details about how three countries will work together, and we also see the kind of the commitment to the consult. It's kind of the pledge or the promise that the three countries will work together when there will be kind of the grave the security or economic threats, and then the three countries will work together to resolve that kind of the serious threats. So it's kind of just the promise, not the kind of the duty. So, but it shows the three countries' commitments to resolve the grave or the serious the threats in the Indo-Pacific region.
You mentioned a great point. It's not a duty, it's a promise. And that's why I would like to talk about the diplomatic terms used for each of these documents. If we take a look at the first one, the commitment to consult, take a look at the screen. You can see an excerpt that we prepared. A key phrase attached to this document could be military security. And the document basically paves the way for a three-way hotline and for the three countries to conduct annual military exercises, share intelligence, and hold annual trilateral summits. But as you mentioned, Professor, it uses the word commitment instead of duty. So how does this differ from a collective defense agreement or other security pacts in the past?
So, as you mentioned, if two countries or the more countries have kind of the alliance, or if they are the allies, then they have the automatic engagement, the duty when their member states are attacked by the outside enemies. So it's the basic mechanism of how the alliance system works. But through this trilateral meeting, the three countries just made the promises to just consult each other when they have their greatest threat. So totally different from the alliance system in that aspect. So we need to make the clear that the three countries just want to just talk and consult each other to resolve the grave threats and the issues in the region they are living. So they're totally different from the NATO and the ROK-US alliance or the US and the Japan alliance. So the three countries also the concerned about the possibility that China will have the very strong response about the promises and the results of this trilateral meeting. So the three countries all together, they don't want to make the China very angry in terms of the enhancing cooperation among three countries. So they try to adjust the level of their cooperation or the diplomatic terms to manage their relations with China.
That's a great point, and we'll be talking about the surrounding countries' reactions shortly. But I would now like to ask you, recently we signed the Nuclear Consultative Group Treaty with Washington. And now that Japan's in the picture, does that mean that they will join the NCG?
Well, it'll take some time because the NCG is still at the beginning step. So they need to institutionalize itself in a like the bilateral format between South Korea and the United States. So they just had the first meeting between the two countries. So it means that they still have a long way to go. So possibly after having some kind of the institutionalized the basis, then they could be open to add Japan to the system or the institution. But it will take much time because the two countries have a little experience in terms of the sharing the U.S. the nuclear capabilities and the South Korea's advanced traditional conventional weapon systems. So it's kind of the big challenge for two countries, and so they needed to talk much about how they will actually share the sensitive information, nuclear capabilities and other advanced military technologies. And then after having some kind of trust each other militarily, then they will work together to make plans and implement the field exercises or something like that. So it'll take much time. And so the two countries need to go through that kind of experience first. And after having some kind of institutionalized the basis or the ground, then, as I mentioned, they may talk about the possibility of joining Japan to the system.
It all comes down to this summit being an institutional start for any discussion to come forward. Now, foreign outlets, though, have raised questions as to whether the relationship between Seoul and Tokyo is actually sustainable. Though Yoon and Kishida have been meeting almost every month from March, there still is a lot of unsettled historical disputes and issues. To that, here's what President Yoon had to say. Let's take a listen before we go on.
그리고 국내에서는 그런 정부의 조치에 대한 반대 여론도 있습니다만은 우리 국민들은 무엇보다 미래지향적인 관점에서 한일 간의 관계 개선과 한미일의 협력이 우리 안보와 경제 발전에 매우 중요하다고 하는 것에 대한 인식의 공감대를 가지고 있습니다.
And Professor Min, that's what the president just said. But do you think that the Korean public is ready to put historical issues between Japan in the past?
Well, that issue is also very sensitive. It's kind of historical issue, and there are still the victims in South Korea in terms of the relations with Japan in the past. So I think that it'll take much time before the two countries completely resolve the disputes. But I'm not sure when the two countries will make that kind of progress in the coming years or the other months. But anyway, so the many experts say that the South Korea and Japan need to have the more practical approach, like the two-track approach. So the two countries that have the shared the common interest in terms of the security and economic matters. So for the security and economic matters, they are ready to cooperate each other and think about how the two countries work together to cope with the North Korea's increasing the nuclear and the missile threats. The two countries have the very close interest for that matter, and to think about the two countries the potential cooperation in terms of the advanced technologies and other the emerging the industries of the technologies. The two countries also have the very common interest in terms of the working together for their own economic interests, and the two countries have their own the strong capabilities in the advanced technologies. So they open to work together in terms of the securing their own economic interest and the security interests. So, but in terms of historical issues, it's very difficult to make the compromise because each country has got its own the domestic political situations and considerations. So not easy to narrow down the gaps that the two countries have. So it is more practical for the two countries to have the two-track approach. So the two countries could have the future-oriented approaches for the economic and the security matters. And in the meanwhile, so for the historical issues, the two countries need to have a little more time. So because it will not be easy to resolve such kind of sensitive issues in a short period of time. So they need to have the long breath and try to make the gradual progress in terms of close communications. And this kind of effort needs the both countries' consistent efforts to make progress and eventually resolve or find the alternative for the in a positive way.
And switching gears, we've been talking about security so far, but now I would like to talk about economic cooperation. The last document I want to talk about is the Camp David Principles, and there the leaders highlighted the importance of technology and economic cooperation. But can we see a win-win situation for all of these already flourishing markets in both Japan, South Korea, and Washington?
Well, we can see some blue ocean industry in terms of advanced technologies and the core or the vital industries like the semiconductors and the large volume batteries, AI, the quantum computing, and the space industry and other things. So it's kind of blue ocean industry and there has been the established principles, norms, and the rules. So it's very important which country have got the priority or have got the established rules. Which country prioritize those principles or rules can make a huge difference in the future. So the South Korea, Japan, and United States want to lead that kind of efforts in those fields. So I think that the three countries could have the win-win situations in terms of the working together, in terms of the advanced technologies and the high-tech industries, because the three countries have their own strong points, a little bit different. And so we can make it the kind of the advanced with the synergy effect in terms of the other three countries, the cooperation. Mm-hmm. So of course, if they work together, and we can see a little bit different the interests in detail, but those kind of details could be overcome in terms of the close communications, cooperation. Anyway, South Korea needed to have the close cooperation with the United States and Japan, because the high-tech industries and advanced technologies should be the future the growth engine for South Korea.
And it's the best way for them to cooperate. All right, thank you so much, Professor Min. It was a pleasure to hear from you today.
Thank you.